Hi, ladies. Want to welcome you back to our women's blog and our second week of doing an interview. And this week I am interviewing Winsome Christie. Say hello, Winsome.
Hi, guys. I'm missing everyone, as I'm sure everyone else is, but hopefully we'll get over this soon.
So I have given Winsome a list of questions, and she is prepared to tell us a little bit more about herself. And Winsome, how long have you been at Covenant of Grace?
I know it's over 10 years, but somewhere between 10 and 12 years.
Okay. So Winsome, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up and what your life was like growing up?
Okay, I'm originally from Jamaica, and I came to Maryland by way of New York over 30 years ago. I lived in New York in a little town outside of Newburgh called New Windsor. It's close to Bear Mountain, West Point area. And I moved to Maryland because my husband had relatives who were living in Columbia. So we ended up moving from New York to Columbia over 30 years ago.
Okay. And so when you were in Jamaica as a child growing up, what was life like there?
A lot slower paced, and going to school in Jamaica was almost like going to church, because in Jamaica, religious education was taught. I'm not sure it still is formally, but it was taught in schools. So there was no separation of church and state. We went to school, we had religious instruction, you took your dictionary, you also took your Bible. You didn't leave home without it. So it was a very steady introduction to a lot of spiritual things. And teachers did it in the classroom, and you had it in Sunday school as well. So I grew up there with an older brother who is still in Jamaica. It was just two of us.
Okay. And so do you have any children of your own?
I have two children. I have a son who lives in Oregon and a daughter who is still at home. Just graduated from University of Maryland. Well, not graduated, but actually graduation should be in 2 weeks, but that has since been canceled. But she's just finished with a program, postgraduate, from the University of Maryland. Yesterday was her last class, actually.
Wow, congratulations to her.
I'll pass that on, thank you.
So do you work outside of the home?
Yes, I'm a kindergarten teacher at a small private school in Columbia. It's Columbia Academy, and I have a class of 11 little angels.
Aww. So are you having to teach right now using video?
Yes, we're actually using the same format that you and I are using. I am on Zoom with them 5 days a week for 40 minutes.
Okay. How do you like using that form of teaching?
In terms of being at home, it's a good thing, but as a teacher, it's not. I find it a lot more difficult to teach online than, in the classroom. For one, the direct supervision that you can give, you can't do it online. And the other downside is that they're at home and they're displaying the behaviors that tell me who's in charge. And at the same time, parents who, I think because they're right there, they're a little more, the kids seem to be more dependent on them, and the parents give in. They tend to want to help them so that they don't fail. Whereas in the classroom, they'll be demonstrating a lot more independence. So it's harder to teach online.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple of teacher friends who have also said the same thing, that teaching with Zoom or recording is, it is a challenge, and it is exhausting for some of them.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, well, how about hobbies? Do you have anything you like to do in your spare time?
Yes, I read a lot, and I also do a lot of cross stitching. And I have had some of my work on display at Talent Night. But now I have so much time to read, so I'm doing a lot. I haven't been doing the cross stitching. I've been doing a lot more reading.
Do you have anything special that you like to read?
Yes, I do. I like to read nonfiction. That might not sound, interesting to some people, but I like nonfiction. And I just, my daughter had given me this book, which tells you, a lot about where your food comes from. And I say, I don't know if at the end I'm going to end up being a vegetarian, but I like to read nonfiction and anything that has to do with different cultures. I guess because I am in a different one from the one I was born in, I find a lot of interesting books on culture.
Okay, good. And there is a lot more time to read right now, isn't there?
There certainly is. There certainly is.
Okay, can you share with us, Winsome, about your faith journey, how you came to know the Lord?
Well, as I said earlier, the format of schooling in Jamaica, when I grew up, you were instructed, you had religious instruction in school. So I came to know Christ on through a gradual process. For some people, they can tell the exact time and place they were when it happened, like a very dramatic transformation. For me, it wasn't that. It was a longer process of growth. And as I have gotten older, my faith has been strengthened, but I cannot pinpoint a time when I can say that that was my conversion date. It was an ongoing and, very good process because I came to know more. And as I am growing older, I'm learning even more about myself and, what God wants from me.
Right. It is a continual journey, isn't it? On this side of heaven, always learning, so much to learn, and we'll never learn it all. But so thankful that he continues to grow us. Well, can you share with us about how you are handling this time of quarantine? Honestly, how you've been feeling and dealing with it, and if there is anything that you find that's been an encouragement to you.
Initially, I guess like everyone else, I was, somewhat frightened, overwhelmed. I couldn't stop watching it. But one day I went for a walk and I passed a church and there was this huge sign that said, "Don't worry about anything, but pray about everything." And that has stuck with me because worrying about it changes nothing. And we have the one that we can depend on. So I have been through the initial shock of it like everyone else, but now I am taking comfort in the word. And my favorite psalm is also what I rely on, and I'll just read a couple of verses of it. It's Psalm 91, and it says at verse 2, "I will say of the Lord, he's my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him I will trust. Surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence." And that's wonderful comfort to me. I would rather rely on this than wake up every day and watch what's going on, because that will get anyone down.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it will. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything that you are looking forward to once the quarantine is over and things get back to normal? Something that you've really missed or something you want to do?
As I said before, I'm from Jamaica, and I usually spend the entire summer and the Easter break in Jamaica. So I'm in Jamaica for over 3 months each year, and I have not been able to do that, obviously. So I miss, I'm going to miss having to spend the summer here instead of spending it in Jamaica. And of course, missing the friends and the fellowship at Covenant of Grace, being online and watching the sermons, especially the ones from the Holy Week. They were very good, but it's not the same. So I'm looking forward to the time when we'll all be back together and we'll be giving hugs. I like the fact that sometimes we have so much talking going on and hugging, like during that sharing, the greeting period, that sometimes we have to be told to go back to our seats because, you know, we take so much time. And that's one of the wonderful parts of being a Covenant of Grace. So that's what I miss.
Yeah, I miss that too. And it will be wonderful, won't it, when we can get back together.
Right.
And to see each other's faces, and we might not be able to hug for a while, but it will be good to be together. So
That's true.
yeah. Thank you for taking the time to share about yourself with us. And I just want to encourage the women, if they see you in church once we're back together, say hi to you if they don't know you. And we just hope that this might be an encouragement to some of the other women of our congregation. So thank you, Winsome.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for the opportunity.